very good morning to everyone. 2 weeks ago, when TED actually sent me an invitation to speak right here today, I was very shocked. And I still couldn't believe that today I'll be facing a crowd of 200. Believe me, I'm very nervous. I'm going to talk a little bit about what the title is about. Okay, I had my doubts for two reasons. One, the possible failure of sharing something phenomenal for the TED community. And number two, when I actually posted on my Facebook profile page that I was going to speak here today, I only garnered the approval of one of my friends. So, yes, in case of those of you who are not very familiar with Facebook, it's a social network. And they have this like status, so only one of my friends clicked I like this status. Unfortunately, there's no dislike status, or I'm sure there will be a lot of dislike status. So let me just continue a little bit. I'll talk a little bit about the word rebel, being a rebellion and all. I think there's always this creative rebel inside all of us that is sort of frustrated in a way. Whenever you see someone doing something creative or being very talented, you might get a little bit frustrated, like myself sometimes. We call these people black sheeps. We call them outliers, the square pegs and the round holes. But whatever the reason is, I believe that we all have the innate ability to be creative. Just think about these examples that I will show you right now. Think about a comedian who writes jokes. That requires creativity. Or it could be a resident comedian within your group of friends who tells jokes about other people's misfortunes. It could be a musician who writes melodious tunes for romantics, like some of you here, to serenade a woman. It could be cook, whether professional or not so professional, who thinks about how to better come up with delicacies, whether it's Jamie Oliver or it's our mothers. So basically, I believe that there are a myriad of activities which demands creativity. And for me, my favorite activity to express my creativity is taking photographs. And thankfully, I was able to find this activity while I was in one of the lowest points of my life, when I was in my national service. So usually people think about going to the army and national service, they think about rules and regimentation, structure, instructions, discipline. It's not exactly a very creative environment, so to speak. But I was lucky. I was in a position whereby it was sort of administrative, but put it in a nicer way, I was in intelligence. So intelligence, when I didn't do anything much, my officer would ask me to go to the ground to take photographs of soldiers so that they can keep it as a record and use it to motivate soldiers. So I'm just about to show you a particular story, photo essay that I actually took when these soldiers were going through their basic military training. I'm sure a lot of Singaporean guys should remember their basic military training days. I hope that can trigger some pleasant memories. So whenever I like to start a photo assignment, I like to take things that are not related to what I'm supposed to take. So this is actually when they're camouflaging, I thought it was kind of interesting. And I just went around trying to know the soldiers and getting them familiar with me. Because when you're a photographer, what you're trying to be essentially is trying to be invisible to the people around you. So you can actually take the best shots, the best moment, and capture the best emotions. And for me, this came as a surprise. I was not actually focused on my assignment. I was just taking flowers, taking trees, taking grass. And okay, I saw this, by the way, they are also my friends, camouflaging, so I thought it was kind of interesting. I just took it from below. This image itself, I was actually in my number 4. For those of you who are not familiar with the SAF uniform, it's the basic military uniform we're wearing, like this guy over here. I was wearing my helmet as well. I was carrying a camera, but I was only using a kit lens camera because the organization didn't have other lenses. So I saw this bunch of soldiers. They were there for a reason. They were there to sort of protect this boundary, and I saw this intensity in one particular soldier. He had this emotion. He was trying to look good in front of the camera. So I was just down there and okay, yeah. So he was trying to look good, and it turned out pretty well, I'll say. And the benefit of being somebody who's like the in-house photographer for my unit itself, I think the benefit is that people are familiar with you. They don't mind your presence. So I'm actually, this is actually one of the sergeant majors, if you recognize the rank, Charlie Company Sergeant Major. I was talking to him and was telling me, yes, you're going to take better shots of me. Make sure I look good. So this came out as a surprise as well. And I think, yeah, sometimes it's about luck itself. So when I was taking this particular shot, okay, I see some wows, thank you very much. It happens to be my favorite shot. It was on my wallpaper. It's my wallpaper on my computer while I was in army, so it was there all the time for about a year. So when I was taking this shot, these soldiers are actually going through battle inoculation course, which basically means that they will experience gunfire, shooting above their heads. Well, of course, the officers want to lie to you to say, if you stand up, you get shot. It's not true. I tried. But of course, don't try too far, because sometimes if the angle is wrong, you might end up dead. So I was there. I was this recruit, I would call them. This recruit was actually going through the battle inoculation course. The rain just finished, and they were asked to sort of go through the mud, crawl through the sand, no matter what, and go to the end, which is about like 50 or 100 meters, leopard crawling to the end itself. There's barbed wires and everything. But this particular soldier, when I was taking him, he was kind of hesitant about jumping into the mud. But I say, well, go ahead. It's nothing, don't worry about it. And that's also one of the benefits of being an in-house photographer, because naturally he'll assume you're an officer and sergeant, so he just listens to you. And okay, this is again my friend, one of the third sergeant. We've all finished our national service, but when we were going back after the field camp itself at Pulau Tekong, it was raining, and when I was carrying my camera, and it was kind of depressing. Everyone in the 5-ton truck was sleeping except both of us. So we were chatting, and when he looked up, I thought, wow, this could be a good shot. Why not take? And he was quite pissed with me when I took the shot, but never mind. Okay, this is not related, I'll talk about this later. So, I think creativity, there's a lot of creative activities we engage, but we just don't know about. People like to tell jokes, people like to take photographs, people like to write a blog. They like to Twitter, sometimes Twitter also requires some creativity because you got to squeeze everything in 140 words or characters. And for me, today, I took a big risk to come over here to share with all of you these photos, very amateurish photos, because I'm not a professional photographer, I must admit. And it took me a big, giant leap of faith to actually come over and stand over here today. It was a true test of confidence. So, for me, myself, I narrowly believe that we all have the right to be creative. Criticism and failure, or the fear of criticism and failure, shouldn't take away that right, because we are naturally creative creatures. I'd like to end with a quote. The echoes of failure might be swift and harsh, but without the creative rebel taunting us to move out of our comfort zones and take conscientious action, the world might be a lot less exciting than it is today. Well, basically this is just, if you need to find me, you can just Google me. And if anyone loves to play with Wordle, yeah, you can sort of like play with it. Wordle. That's it. Thank you very much.